What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. All right, y'all. Hope everybody's having a magnificent start to their Thursday. Chilly out there. Already got the workout in before the sun came up and rip roaring ready to go. I'm heading out to Sunshine, Louisiana today. Gonna do a video shoot with my friends from Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, and I guess I could say this: defensive tackle for the Tigers, Jacobian Tank Guillory. Really cool, man. Sunshine's done great things with their NIL deals. If you haven't seen the Mason Taylor stuff they have this week, Bama week, obviously. And I'm telling you, next week, I've teased it a couple times, next week, they're releasing like NIL videos with NIL partners every week throughout the season. And it's sort of a LSU opponent specific. So next week is Emory Jones. And they did the Emory Jones shoot, I think, in the summer, and it's really good. It's really good. Like, probably one of those ones that's going to go viral really good. Okay, we'll say some good mornings, y'all. Inching closer here to LSU and Bama. And Saints Bears. Michael Thomas didn't practice for the Saints on Wednesday. The only real injury of note, I'd say. The fact Dennis Allen said still battling that illness that kind of ravaged the team last week, but I fully expect Thomas to be good to go on Sunday against the Bears. Huge opportunity for the Saints, man. I mean, you have a chance to get above 500. And by the way, I should correct myself. Thomas was there. He was limited. He was not there during the media viewing portion. On the official injury report, he was limited. The only two that didn't practice were Lynn Bowden with the illness and Ty Summers, who's listed with a concussion and a hamstring injury. So anyway, all right, we'll say some good mornings here and see what y'all got. Hey, Dad, good morning. Kelly Gross. Phil Smith, who won the tickets for the game. Phil, I have to go. Muso and Paulie picked it. Phil, did you enter? And if you entered, I'm curious if you entered on Twitter. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think the guy that won was a guy named Phil. If you tell me your handle, I'll go look it up. But they did pick the winner, and we ran out of time and I forgot to announce it. That's my fault. But the guy who won it was a guy named Phil. Bubba Smith, Jeff McKith, and Eric Hart, what's going on? After yesterday, I have made a permanent mental note to never bring up the college football playoff TV shows with you until the first weekend in December. You know, the funny thing, Eric, like, I've done that rant every year since the inception of this thing. One of the more notable rants that people talk to me all the time about is when I went, Cincinnati. And if that was in 2019 when the playoff committee jumped Cincinnati over LSU in one of those stupid ranking shows. And I went off. So I've been doing that rant for a long time. But sometimes it just takes the right day, the right time, the right moment to hear something a different way for it to finally resonate. So, but yeah, man. Wayne Blanchard, what's up? Jacob Willis, what's up? Phil, I think you've won, dude. I think... Mr. Feelgood, dude, I think you're the one. Dude, I think you won. It was like a couple of Brian Kelly memes, if I'm not mistaken. Dude, I think you won. That's so good. Oh, man. Wayne Blanchard, Jacob Willis, Dale Broussard. How crazy is it that this entire elite girls basketball team is eligible to return to LSU next season? Yeah, and you know the thing is, Phil, don't quote me. Please don't quote me because I don't want to be wrong. But I'm almost like I'm 98% sure that's that you won. I'll check with the producers today. and I'll send you the tickets if it was you. All right, Dale Broussard. Sorry, I just read that one. John Hendricks, Craig Dugas, what's going on? Eric Hart, the Cincinnati. That was the selection committee. Fish, what's going on, man? Good to see you there. All right, what y'all got? Y'all fire away with some questions. How about the Pelicans? Overcome a 22-point deficit. They win again. Good start for the team. Stay healthy, man. Stay healthy, and and that was without BI last night. Stay healthy, and you got a great shot, man. Jesse Post, Jason H, Larry Gardner, Devin Kelly. Good morning, Matt, Baby Drew, and E-Rock. Jesse, you going for the Beetlejuice look with the shirt? No, man. I'm going to shoot. I told y'all I'm going to Sunshine, Louisiana to do a John Deere shoot. So I'll have my green John Deere hat on. Got my flannel shirt. Dude, it's freezing outside. Like literally, it's in the 30s this morning. So yeah, I have a flannel shirt on. It's going to be freezing doing the shoot today. Tiger Diver. I got the last MLB bet of the year correct. Thank God, Tiger Diver. So if you've been following along, Jimmy does otter locks every day at the end of AFR. And it's so uncanny because last baseball season, he was hitting at an incredible clip. Usually if you're into sports betting at all, if you are above 50%, like if you're in 60% or higher, that's like you're winning. That's great. That's great. Otter last year in MLB Otter locks was in the 75% range. It was unbelievable. And then he went to Del Mar. He always takes some time in the summer, and he went to Del Mar for a month or whatever it was. And when he came back, it was like he lost his touch. He never got back on track. It just completely disintegrated the rest of the way. And so I was kind of hoping this year in baseball, maybe he might get back on track, and it just never happened. And then in the postseason, it was just awful. Like everything he gave us was a loser. And I kept telling Musso, I'm like, we could fade him, and just bet the other way. But I was like, damn it, I've had so many losses. I'm not jumping ship now because eventually the loss streak is going to end and he's going to hit one, and I'm not taking all these L's to miss the win. So I kept riding with him. We finally won last night, the last one. So we missed the 2 college football games though. So 1 and 2 night for the Otter. Wacky Chris, good morning, Matt. Starting off the birthday with coffee and scone. All right, Wacky Chris, happy birthday, man. Hope it's a great one for you. Enjoy your day. Tim Gotro, Wendell Norman, Jerry G. Let's see, Jesse. Should the Saints be 6-4 going into their bye? Pell's got a big. Saints should be, yeah. Jesse, that's on Monday after the Colts win. That was really my biggest takeaway was you're down double digits. Remember all the negativity last week, your 3-game losing streak, all the negativity, fire Dennis Allen, fire Pete Carmichael, Derek Carr stinks, Olave gets arrested, all the stuff. And you find yourself down 17-7. You're down 10 points, just like that in Indy. And it would have been so easy to fold. Instead, from that point, they outscored Indy 31-10 the rest of the way. And now you catch a huge break. The Bears without Justin Fields. And next week, you get to face the Vikings without Kirk Cousins. And Justin Jefferson. So, yeah, you should be 6-4 going into your bye. And coming out of your bye, you get to face the Falcons, who just benched Desmond Ridder, by the way. So, yeah, I mean, you can look up and say if it doesn't, like if the Saints aren't 6-4 going into their bye headed to Atlanta, that's a huge, huge L. Hunter Broadhead, hey Matt, good morning. You think the Saints keep using Taysom the way they have been? Hunter, I'd love to tell you they will. But this has been a conversation we've had about Taysom now for as long as he's been with the Saints. And that's, his usage. And it's always inconsistent. And sometimes it feels like it's, week to week based on who the opponent is. But for example, opener. So here's Taysom's rushing totals on the season. Rushing attempts. 3, 9. So 3 for 4 yards against Tennessee, 9 for 75 yards against Carolina. After that, he goes 4 for 12. Then 4 for 10, 3 for 19, 1 for 2, 5 for 18, 9 for 63, and you win. It's like, my triplet posted that stat earlier, when the Saints are 17-1. This is an incredible statistic. The Saints are 17-1 when Taysom Hill has at least 7 rushing attempts. And this year they're 2-0. He had 9 against Carolina and 9 against Indy. Saints won both those games. I would love to tell you that I think that changes, that his rushing totals, his usage stays the same. It's just they've never found that consistency. Last year, he had 9 against Seattle for 112 in a win. Against the Raiders, 10 for 61 in a win. Against the Rams, 9 for 52 in a win. Against Atlanta, 7 for 30 in a win. Against Cleveland, 9 for 56 in a win. Against Philly, 14 for 46 in a win. I mean, yeah, when you have to account for Taysom Hill, it matters. But they've just never. But then again, like to the point, here were his rushing attempts by game last year, all the way through the season: 4, 3, 5, 9, 5, 3. So 9, you win, then 5, then 3, then 10, then 1, then 3, then 9, 6, 3, 7, 9, 14, 5, and you lose. When you go on a 3-game winning streak where you go 7, 9, 14, and then in the last game of the season you play Carolina, he has 5 rushes for 24 yards and you lose. Jerry G, Trivia Carter, David Bass, good morning. Dalton Barnett, Jerry, Matt, do you think the Saints will have a repeat on Sunday against the Bears? The Bears' defense is awful. Now, they did just trade for Montez Sweat, but they're dead last in the NFL in sacks. That is not a good defense. You are at home. You should absolutely win that game and win it handily. It's the NFL. It's hard to win in the NFL. Every team has pros in the NFL. It's always worth saying that. But the New Orleans Saints, I think Drew's awake. The Saints are an 8.5-point favorite in this ballgame. 8.5. I mean, the average margin of victory in the NFL is like 3. You're an 8.5-point favorite. That's a huge line in the NFL. So you should absolutely win this game on Sunday. Jamunison, good morning. Let's get this win against Bama. Matt Plavidal, Brian Wynn, Spurge, good morning. The party's on here in Dallas. All right, Spurge. Bailey C. Brian Kelly is honest. Dennis Allen press conference was like watching Congress. Brad David, good morning. Let's see. Do you think Chicago will come out swinging against the Saints? We always seem to play bad teams whenever they have a chip on their shoulders. Yeah. I think the other thing for the Bears, too, is to remember, the Bears, the Bears also just played in LA on Sunday Night Football. So the Bears went from Chicago to LA, played Sunday night, had traveled back to Chicago, and now they're traveling to New Orleans. So this is also, you catch them at a pretty good time after a long West Coast trip and then coming back and now to New Orleans. So there's, all the dynamics of this game line up for the Saints. You should 100% win this game. Josh Higginbotham, 26 degrees in North Louisiana. Whew, no thanks. Damon Gilmore, Jeb Whitley, Matt. Thought the Cincinnati rant was off a movie. Nope. That's awesome. Whiskey and Wine has some gems too, like when T-Bob kept saying propane. It's 23 in Tennessee. Y'all keep warm down there. Propane. Yeah, with a Vacherie fuel, propane. Wacky Chris, do you think, what do you think is the biggest key in the game against Bama this weekend? Freshman DBs, LSU D-line versus Bama O-line. I think it's really simple. Can LSU get 2 stops a half? I think LSU is going to move the ball. They're going to score. LSU needs to convert touchdowns in the red zone and get 2 stops in the half. If you, so on average in a football game, if you figure 10 possessions in a game, 5 per half roughly, if you get 10 possessions in a game and you get 2 stops a half. That means Bama would score on 6 possessions. If those are 6 touchdowns and you give up 42, you probably lose. If those are 4 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and you give up 34, can you win 37-34 or 41-34 or 35-34? Yeah, you could win. You could win a game like that. I think that's what it's going to take. Glenn Crowd is morning, Matt. Am I wrong to think our front 7 has been drastically better since Master P jumped to Mulhert? I believe our back 3 benefits from that regardless of who plays back there. No, the defensive line has definitely been better. Since Pete Jenkins is a part of it, no doubt. But moving to a 4-3, or not, I guess they don't really run a 4-3. They kind of run a 4-2-5, but because their base is nickel. But yes, running a 4-man front instead of having a 0 technique nose tackle. Like when you have Mason Smith in the game and he's playing a 0 technique, which means like you're a nose guard, you're lined up straight up on the center. Your job basically is to create a car crash. You're eating up space to allow other people to make plays. So you wonder why Mason Smith's numbers weren't good early. Well, he was playing nose. He was coming off a knee injury, and he had an ankle injury on the other leg in fall camp. So he's coming off a knee injury, he's got an ankle injury, and he's playing a position where you're not designed to make plays. Well, and probably, just having not played in a year, a little out of shape. So now you get to this point in the season where now you're playing a 4-3, where he's lining up in the gap. And so one of those linemen, or both of them, have to shade over to cut off his penetration. I mean, when you run a 4-man front, you are you're setting your defensive line up to be the playmakers instead of your defensive line to be space eaters for your linebackers to free up and make plays. So yes, I absolutely think going to a 4-man front, it has been a huge benefit. I also think what's been a huge benefit is you played Auburn and Army, who are 2 of the worst offenses in college football. Thomas Lamont, is Neighbors the front runner for the Biletnikoff? He will be a finalist for sure. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the front runner. Whether we like to admit it or not, name recognition and all that stuff matters. But Malik is leading the nation in receiving yards. And if Malik goes out today or on Saturday and has a 150-yard game with a couple of scores, I think that could propel him ahead. Rome Odunze from Washington is 4th in the country in receiving yards, and he's obviously got name recognition and on that great offense. Luther Burden from Missouri. I mean, that's the short list. The kid who's actually 2nd in the country in receiving yards is Colin Lacey from South Alabama, but it's hard to imagine him winning it. He would have to have just some incredible type day. But anyway. Brad David, would you rather the Saints miss the playoffs and get a good draft pick or make the playoffs and get crushed in the first round? The reason I hesitate is because if you say would I rather miss the playoffs or make the playoffs, I'd always rather make the playoffs. But make the playoffs and get crushed in the first round is a different dynamic because are you really any closer to a championship? But you can't win it if you're not in the tournament. So I would always rather make the playoffs. We have seen wildcard teams get hot and go win the Super Bowl. The Giants did it in 2007. The Packers did it in 2010. I would just rather get in than not be in. So, but it's tricky because the way you asked it about getting crushed in the first round, because that stinks. Mr. Jones, hey Scone, sorry I'm late. All good, Mr. Jones. Don't let it happen again. Matt, would you rather the Saints finish 9-8 and retain Dennis Allen, or 6-11 and we clean house? Well, is the 9-8 a division championship and a playoff berth? By the way, I don't think they're finishing 6-11 because you should win your next two, which puts you at 6-4, which means you have to lose out, and I don't think they lose out. Trivia, I don't want a mid-season. I need them to tank and build for the future. I mean, trivia, the flip side of it is, what if they actually get hot and go win 10, 11 games and make the playoffs and go on a run, which is the best case scenario. I don't know if I believe that can happen, but it can happen if you don't win. So. KDP, good morning. Brett DeGrow, what's up? Leon Williams, Jeb Whitley. Matt, do you think Brian Keller replaces Coach House this offseason? Yes, I do. That's not to say all of the defensive issues this year are strictly Matt House's fault, but he is the defensive coordinator, and I don't know how you stand pat after something like this. So, Will Hildebrand, LSU should onside kick after every score to try to steal possessions. I completely disagree with that. That's a terrible idea. Make Jalen Milroe go 80 yards down the field. Because the one thing Jalen isn't or hasn't been in his career is a dink and dunk guy. He's the big play guy. So I don't want to give them a short field, meaning, hey, go get a first down or two and you're in field goal range for Will Reichard, who's the best kicker Alabama's literally ever had. So no, that's a really bad idea, Will. I like that you're thinking outside the box, but that's not a good idea. Barry Jocelyn, Christian, don't make it easier for them to score points against your defense. Matt's got jokes this morning. Make a run. Trivia, the defense is good, man. Defense is good, and they have talent on offense. It's the NFL. You can always slip up and win a game. So, Josh DeVilliers, morning, Matt. I loved your Saban moaning listening to his press conference. I had a couple of people mention it. We were playing Nick Saban sound bites yesterday, and I was just going like, when you listen to Nick talk, that's how he sounds. Anyway, Charlie Cavell, Charlie Gale, good morning. All right, y'all. I think we are done. Y'all have a great day. Truax, what's up? Rocky Killian, good morning. Do you expect to see more Mason Taylor on offense this week as he was last year against Bama? Sure. Patrick Berglass, let's take down Zachary for the district tonight. Calici, let's go. All right. Paul Dykes, good morning. From Drew, Paul, and Stephanie. All right, fellas and ladies, appreciate y'all. Thanks for being there. Tom Granig, what's going on? Right. What is that, Tom? I'll have to look at that later. Best AFR bit is the Cleveland drop and side talk. What's side talk? I don't remember that. Side talk. I don't remember. Okay, I gotta go. Anyway, it's 8 o'clock. It's 8:01. I gotta go. All right, thanks so much for watching. LSU Daily is live. AFR 3. We'll see you. Peace.